You know, he used to be obnoxious, terrible promos, couldn't even dress. I mean, just, you know, and he was always getting booed and getting that go away heat. And now you see him on TV and he's, you know, he's good. But at the end of the day, you know, Dixie was young to the business. You know, I compare her a lot with Eric Bischoff. I think both marked out for being around wrestlers and, you know, being in charge of a wrestling organization. And, you know, sometimes I think they were both giving bad advice for people that had hidden agendas. You know, there's a huge parallel between both of them. Selfish in the ring, didn't want to help anybody. Jack Evans and Teddy Hart had just gotten there, and I said, look, help these guys out. They look up to you, and, you know, they're really good. And Hoovy didn't sell. You know, he would fucking treat him like J-Brones. And, you know, and he was very hard to deal with. Hoovy was always in business for him, not for the match, you know, not for anything else. And so, make a long story short, Juventud does an interview in the United States, and without them even asking, you know, he's like, yeah, you know, Sean, you know, tried to hang himself in Mexico, and he might have said he overdosed or something like that. I go, what's your fucking problem? You know, you put that fucking shit in my bag. I go, did you see me do it? He goes, no, I know it was you. I go, dude, you better make sure that you know it was me before you start some shit. You know, I was kind of pushing Juventud aside, and when I went to push Juventud aside, fucking Jack just grabbed him and fucking kneed him in the nose. I think he broke it. I'm almost positive he did, and just fucked him up pretty bad. You'll love this one. They were in some meeting with like a writers meeting with Vince Russo, with Vince McMahon. I'm sorry, with Vince McMahon. And, you know, they were talking about, you know, one guy goes, well, you know, why don't we just call them Mexi-Cools, like they're cool Mexicans. I'm telling you, Dusty Rhodes, when I was growing up in Miami, was as big as, you know, probably LeBron James is in Miami right now. I think he had something personally against Ronnie. And I think just to shut me up, because I was, like, really pissed, they said, all right, man, just fucking find whoever you want and do this LAX shit. And when the younger guys started to see that they were repeating the same mistakes as WCW, and I know for a fact it's like that now, even though, you know, if you get them on the camera, who's going to bury their own company? Right. But I know enough people in there that tell me what's cracking, and they're all like, they go, it's changed from when you were here, man. People just come, get their fucking pay, and get the fuck out. Right. You know, and that's not good for morale. It's not good for the product. But, you know, that all stems from the way that place is run. I just think, you know, low key doesn't kiss ass, you know, and, you know, in this business, people that don't kiss ass, they get a lot of heat, you know, especially if they're not stars. And so, you know, Key's one of those guys that he's not really going to kiss ass. He knows he's a good wrestler. He should be able to get over on that. But, you know, he just has heat. And so I would always tell Mantel, dude, just give me this guy. He's too short. I go, and you know, they wanted Homicide to wear lifts. I'm like, well, tell Petey Williams to wear lifts. You know, nothing against Petey, cool dude. My whole thing was, all right, you're telling me there's no money, but I see the Dudleys, and I see, you know, Kurt Angle, and I see all these guys coming in. Why is there money for them and none for us, you know? When people go to TNA, and they've been in WWE, right? Right. At the beginning, you know, they're happy because it's new. They don't got to be on the road as much. There's not as much politics. You know, it's like, fuck, you know, this pressure cooker's off of me, you know, and they get treated like, you know, like the superstar because TNA is so star hungry, you know, and then they have an easy schedule and all this. But then after, when everybody comes in gung-ho, but I see it almost to a T with just about everybody that goes. After a while, they're like, this place isn't Major League. You know, people are always asking, hey, are you still wrestling? You're like, no, I'm in TNA. Yeah, I think he would, if they would have let him do what he wanted to do, I would just have, because look at what he did with ECW with, you know, he didn't have much, really. You know what I'm saying? Right. You know, you were working there. So, and look at what he did, you know. And so I went off on TNA, and, you know, Jeff goes, and you want to get a raise like this? And I go, well, I thought there was no money. He goes, well, there'll never be any money if you keep talking like this. And I go, fuck it, bro. You know, I mean, it's the truth. But the problem with Vampiro is, too, he bullshits a lot. And when you call him out on it, he gets mad. And he just lives on this planet where I think Teddy Hart, Juventud Guerrera, maybe Brian Christopher reside. Planet Oblivion. Because they're just oblivious to, like, the heat they have, or the shit that they do, or the lies that they say. You know, it's like, dude, the whole industry, you know, knows how you are. Why are you trying to front? You know what I'm saying? Let me see if I got this right. They broke through your front door, but they knocked on your bedroom door, which gave you enough time to jump out the window. When you jumped out the window, there just happened to be some police coming by. You know, there's just, and then who it's coming from. You know what I'm saying? If it was maybe somebody else. And so now you say you broke your back, but 2 or 3 weeks later, you're, and these are his words. He goes, yeah, I was pushing my girl home from school. And I'm thinking to myself, well, how can you even walk if you have a broken back? You know, it's like, you know, I was talking, even talking with some of the wrestlers that were involved in that, you know, when they were saying, and you're not going to go, you're going to go exactly to where Eddie is, and we all know where he is, and he looks down, you know, to hell, and all the things that they did that was so, you know, despicable, I thought. And, you know, I know some of the writers that were there, and, you know, they tell me that none of the wrestlers wanted anything to do with it. None of them wanted anything to do with it. Even Stephanie, Hunter, but Vince was like adamant that it was going to be done. He thought it was going to get interest and heat, and, you know, but it got the wrong type of heat. It would put it on Rey, and he was like a transitional champion, and then somebody else would take it. They never really pushed Rey all the way, which is a shame because he's so talented. You know, I think what really kills Rey, and he's cognizant of it, is he's not a good promo guy, you know, and that hurts him. I'm just saying, why did you pay for his, not for mine, and not for Ronnie's? And to us, you lend us the money. You know what I'm saying? So that was another reason that I was pissed. It wasn't a matter of if I had the money or not. It's, I'm working for you, I got hurt, and you're, you know, working for you, now take care of me. And Rick went and he told his brother, and then, you know, we had our match. So, and Scott was always, even in WCW, always very quick to explode, you know, always wanted to fight somebody, really didn't give a shit. And, you know, now the last time that he was in TNA, you know, he's mellowed out a lot. So what we're doing is, we don't want what happened with WWE to happen to us, where all of a sudden they got to push all these guys that aren't ready because they didn't groom them earlier. And I went to ECW. Paul Lee actually called me, and he said, listen, I need to know something. How good is Rey Mysterio and Psychosis? I keep hearing that they're good. I go, with all due respect to the rest of your dressing room, and I was a big Sabu fan. I go, including Sabu, I go, it's going to be hard for anything to follow what you're going to see. And he goes, really? And I go, really? He goes, send him. And so he called me back. I remember he called me back, I would say 20 minutes after the match. He goes, man, these guys rocked it. He goes, I need them for next week. Can I have them next week? I go, fuck yeah. And he goes, yeah, and I need you to come in next week too and bring somebody in. Well, you know, when people see me, they're like, oh, you know, that's a big guy and he's a badass and all that. When people see Rey, they think, oh, I can kick his ass, right? And so I go, no. When people see Rey, they think, wow, for a small guy, your fucking guy does cool moves.
Right.
Nobody's thinking I can kick his ass because nobody thinks this is real. But anyways, I wanted to go back to one question that you'd asked me. I don't think I really gave a good answer, which was, what would I do to change a business? Like I was saying before, I would bring in, you know, just this new hybrid of wrestler that you don't really see on TV too much. And when you do see him, like a Bryan Danielson, he's so watered down, you don't really know how talented he really is, you know. I'd let motherfuckers go, you know, just let them go. If you look at Love Machine, Eddie Guerrero, Rey Mysterio, Juventud, the original Park, you know, Heavy Metal, you know, Blue Panther, these guys were off the hook wrestlers. Sin Cara, I think he should have gone to that training school like Alberto did.
Right. And
get deprogrammed, because I've said this before, when you come from Mexico to the United States, you have to completely get deprogrammed. It's another rhythm, another style, another tempo. The selling is different. Everything. You really have to get deprogrammed. I remember, I do remember one thing with Bruce Pritchard. I called up and I said, yeah, this is Konnan. He goes, who? And I go, Konnan. And I know he knew me because when I was Max Moon there, he was Brother Love and we used to talk. So, and it's like, are you kidding me? You don't watch WCW? And so then he goes, send me a tape. Send you a tape? So then Chris Jericho calls me like a couple days later, and he goes, you know, Pritchard is mad because he said it was very presumptuous of you to call and say this is Konnan. I go, I doubt he would have known me by Charles Ashenoff or Carlos Espada. And he's like, well, that's what he said. And I'm like, what a bitch.